Lordy Jesus, merciful Father. Well, my curls was popping earlier, but now it's just a mess. Lordy. Ooh, wait a minute. Hey, y'all. Hey. Lord have mercy. Let me see. Hey, y'all. Hey. Jesus, honey, this running up and down that football field today, I done sweated my dang on hair out. These curls don't even look close to what they look like early, just flopping and falling, flopping and falling. Hey, y'all, hey. Hey, soul sister. Y'all, I was coming on today because today is World Mental Health Day. And baby, when I tell y'all, whoo, Lord Jesus. Whoo, Lord Jesus. Listen, I am going to be writing down names. I'm gonna come back on this live. And honey, I'm gonna write down names of the people, and I'm gonna be putting y'all on the prayer list. I'm gonna be putting y'all, hey, Mama of the Corn. I'm gonna be putting y'all in my meditation, in my prayers. Because honey, mentally, we got a lot going on, y'all. And like I said, today is World Mental Health Day. So, I just wanted to come on here and check on you guys real quick. Check on your mental health, honey. Check on your mental state. Because ain't nothing like having a sound mind. I'm telling y'all right now. And if your mind is sound, and you okay right now, you don't have a whole bunch going on, and mentally you're okay. Because let me tell y'all, there's so many undiagnosed people out here. It's so many undiagnosed people. Because we all have our situations. We all have things going on. But we don't go to talk to a therapist about it. We go talk to our friend, or we go talk to, our neighbor, our mom, our coworker, and so, oftentimes, we go under the radar. We don't have a diagnosis only because we ain't went to go see anybody to get one. But honey, if you just sit still, go talk to a therapist and sit on somebody's couch, I guarantee you'll probably have a diagnosis by the end of the session. Okay. And so I'm telling you right now, if you are okay and you're feeling all right and everything's on the up and up, pray for somebody. Pray for somebody else. Because at the end of the day, you just never know what people are going through. You just never know what people are going through. And so, as a therapist, I want to bring awareness to today. It's World Mental Health Day. So I just want to come on here and check on y'all because I'm struggling, I'm still struggling with my own grief. And, Princeton triggers my grief almost every day. And because he is a child, trying to assist your child going through grief and trying to figure out what it looks like, what it feels like, to them, you can't tell them, well, no, you can't talk about Gigi right now because mommy is not in a good place. How you gonna tell your baby that? How you gonna tell your child that? So you definitely, you just talk them through it as best you can, but at the same time, you're struggling too. I know that seasonal depression is getting ready to hit people like a ton of bricks. I know that. Anytime October, November, December, January, the cold months. Now, all my clients, y'all, they be chilling in the summertime. They be on vacation. They be chilling. And soon as October hit, I get multiple phone calls. And the problem is when we know we deal with things seasonally, seasonal depression or whatever the case may be, we're not proactive. We're reactive. And I need people to stop being reactive because if you have if you know you have seasonal depression and what season it's in, you have to be proactive and work on it the season before, so that when it comes, you have some tools down in you to be able to utilize. You can't work on seasonal depression in the season that it's in. You have to be proactive about it. Oh no, Ivy, I'm so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry to hear that. We'll definitely keep y'all in prayer. I do have a grief group on Facebook. And if you guys want to join the grief group, you're more than happy to join the grief group. It's called RC Strong. You know, we're in there sharing our stories of grief, trying to keep people's spirits up and just different things like that. And I am going to start going live in the grief group sooner rather than later, to talk about some of the things that I've learned as a grief counselor, who's getting her certification in grief counseling. I tried to unalive myself. Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. You're needed. You're needed. I know that sometimes we think that, you know, the going gets so tough and we can't see our hand in front of our face. You know, it's so dark and there's never any sunshine. It just continues to rain and rain and rain. And then after it rain, it's storm. And after it's storm, it thunder. After it's thunder, it's lightning. You know, and it's like we can't ever catch a break. You know, and when you feel like you can never catch a break, it's almost like what's the point? Like, you know, like I've tried, but it's just, you know, nothing's happening. The name of the group is called RC Strong, Strong. And I'm sure it's like you can find it like somewhere up in my Facebook on Raising Cultures. But somebody asked me if I could pin it, and yes, I will try to pin it after this. Yes, please send a request and I will accept your request today. But I'm telling y'all, the reason why I started the group is, you know, of course I lost my grandmother, but also because as a grief counselor, I feel like I might have some insight that I can provide as a counselor. And a lot of times people can't afford therapy. A lot of times people can't afford or don't want to be, you know, when my grandma first passed away, the last thing I wanted to do is talk to a therapist. That was, I didn't even want to talk to anybody. That was the last thing that I wanted to do. Now I do know for sure that I knew that I was going to eventually go to therapy and talk to my therapist about it. Well, it didn't start off as a grief group. It started off as a weight loss group, and I changed it because I'm not that consistent when it comes to weight loss, and I didn't want to mislead anybody. So I just left it there for like 4 years. As that, but I said, you know what? Let me do something with this group. And so I changed it to that, and I feel like it's more consistent and I'm more passionate about it because I've experienced this devastation and I know how it feels, and I can definitely help other people, and other people in the group can also help. But yes, I believe that someone can get their truth out and heard and talk to others. You know, I do think talking to other people helps. You know, we are not in this world alone. If we were meant to be in this world alone, it would just have been one person for the entirety of the beginning of this world until it's over. We're meant to be in this world with other people. We're meant to lean on each other. We're meant to communicate with one another, get along with one another, offer each other words of encouragement, and just different things like that. The problem is, I feel sometimes we have so much going on that we can't hardly offer anybody else a word of encouragement because we can't even encourage ourselves right now. People struggle with so many different things and we try to smile through it. And I feel like eventually when you keep pushing stuff under the rug, now the rug is flat, But the more and more stuff you keep putting up under the rug, then the rug becomes like this, and then like this, and then like this. And then eventually, you're not going to be able to hide it anymore. It's going to come out in the form of you lashing out at other people. It's going to come out in the form of you wanting to unalive yourself. It's going to come out in the form of you self-medicating. It's going to come out in the form of, aggressive behavior. It's going to come out in the form of you not looking like who you used to be. And then instead of dealing with it when the rug is flat, and you just swept a little bit of stuff under there, now you got a big pile of stuff to deal with. And it becomes overwhelming. And when you become overwhelmed, then guess what? You don't want to go to therapy because now it's just too overwhelming. People don't want to go to therapy or talk to people when stuff seems this small. But that's when I tell people, go ahead and tackle it then. When it's this small, because something this small is going to turn into something greater if you don't deal with it. And then y'all know how stuff pile on. You can be dealing with something this small, and then all of a sudden this happened. You can be dealing with something on your job, and then your child go through something, or you're going through a situation with your child. You could be dealing with something with your child, and then all of a sudden something major happened on your job. It's like, oh my God. Like, now it's stuff just keep piling on, and you become overwhelmed, and then you shut down. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to start, because every time you turn around, there's something going on over here, something going on over there. And you're not the only one. And people feel like they're alone. They feel like they don't want to tell people. And nowadays, like, really, can you trust people? Next thing you know, your business on social media. You fall out with somebody. They done told Tom, Dick, and Harry. Who can you trust? So, the best person that you can trust that you don't have a dog in your fight is a therapist. It's somebody that's outside, of that. I tell people all the time, just like if, people, I tried therapy, didn't work for me. I went, well, did you try it one time with one therapist? You have to, therapy is just like anything else, I'm going to find the right fit for me. It's not, well, I tried it one time, it didn't work that time. But just because it didn't work that time, don't mean that it won't work the next time. And then maybe you'll be in a better space to receive what some things that people are telling you. Sometimes we put ourselves in situations, and then when it started raining, it's like, oh Lord Jesus. But we put ourselves in a situation, then it started raining, and then you be like, now how in the world did it start raining? We have to start taking accountability for the things that we put ourselves into as well. And I think a good therapist will be able to tell you that, and y'all be able to work it out through a treatment plan. And it's not just children, because a lot of times I would tell my children, like, well, you caused the thunderstorm, but you mad that it's raining, but you caused it. Same thing with adults. Sometimes we cause our own thunderstorms, and then when it rains, we be like, oh my God, how in the world did that happen? But yeah, I just really just do want, if you are going through something, and it's too hard for you to bear on your own, I just encourage people to just reach out to somebody, because having a trusted friend or somebody that you can trust, a therapist or whatever, is better than just sitting and sulking and, constantly just sitting there in your own thoughts and feelings and don't have anybody to talk to or anything or any way of working it out or, whatever. It's just, eventually it's just going to be a disaster. It's just going to be a disaster, because baby, life be lifing. Life be lifing. Okay. And one thing I know for sure is that one thing happened, here come 2 and 3. One thing happened, and then you can almost put your finger on something else happening and something else happening. Like oh, this thing is happening to me, and this thing is the only thing that's going to happen to me. I know nothing else is going to happen. Because something else getting ready to happen in a minute. something else is getting ready to happen in a minute, and you can bet your last dollar on it, okay? I'm telling you right now. So if you're going through something, just know you're going to go through something else. And then you're going to go through something else. And then you're going to go through something else. The problem is when we've gone through something, or we're going through something, and we're in denial about the things that we're going through, or we don't want to deal with it. Well, I'm just not going to deal with it. And so then something else happened, and then you don't want to deal with that. And then something else happened, and you don't want to deal with that. And now your life, your whole situation is just chaotic. And now you in the bed for 2 and 3 days. You can't get up because you're so depressed, or you're having panic attacks and you're trying to figure out why, or it's just, now your OCD was under control. Now it's spiking up again. Like you trying to figure out what's going on. Well, I used to have my bipolar under control, but now it's just out of control. Oh, now I'm starting to self-medicate. Well, I never smoked before. Now I'm smoking, or I only smoke 1 or 2 times a week. Now I'm smoking 7 days a week. And so, we have to look at those first little signs of things that start to change in our lives. As soon as they start to change, we need to evaluate what's going on immediately and not let things just start to spin out of control. And baby, I'm trying to tell y'all, I be telling y'all stuff because I go through stuff. And hey, I just love Boosie. Thank you. Yes, it definitely helps a lot when you have a good therapist that know what they're doing and know what they're talking about. And when you're not ashamed, we have to stop feeling ashamed of things that we go through. Like, if you have somebody in your life like, oh my God, you going through that? Oh Lord. As if they not going through something, but they just not telling you. They want you to feel bad about what you're going through. But then they going through something even worse or just as bad. But they're not telling you that because they want to keep themselves up here. They want to they have an appearance that they want to appear like nothing has ever happened. Like their life is just golden. They living their life like it's golden. And and it's okay. It's okay. Because you can lie to everybody else, but you cannot lie to yourself. You can be out here lying to June, Janice, and Tammy. But you cannot lie. I can't lie to Kia. I can lie to y'all. I can't lie to myself. And if you lie to yourself, then you really need to go and get therapy. You can't be in denial about things that are going on in your life. You can put on for other people, but you cannot put on for yourself. Like at the end of the day, it's happening to you. And then you just, we're resilient, but it's y'all. I don't ever tell people like, oh, eventually it'll be all right in the morning. 'Cause that's a lie. It's not going to be all right in the morning. It's going to be all right when you decide that it's going to be all right. It'll be all right on your terms, and I say that as a person who has a lifelong disease. I have lupus that it's no cure. So I'm always going to live with that. So I've decided that it's all right. But nobody else could tell me that. Oh my gosh, yeah, everything is going to be okay. No, the hell is not going to be okay. I'm ending up in the hospital. Every time I turn around, I'm in the hospital for 2 and 3 days at a time. My hair is falling out. I'm taking 7, 8 different medications. I got to make sure that my liver enzyme, I got to do all this stuff. I'm getting tested here. I'm getting the surgery here. I'm getting operated on here. I'm doing all these things. I'm waking up in pain. I'm going to sleep in pain. And so don't tell me it's going to be okay, because it's not. And then I decided that it is. And so therefore it is. But it took a long time. It took a long time for me to get to the point to understand that, okay, I have a lifelong chronic illness. There is no cure for it. Me being upset about it is not going to change anything. So what can I do to live this life that I'm living today? this new way of living that's now that I'm presented with. I can keep trying to live the life that I was living before. Oh yeah, okay, well, let's go hiking. I want to go swimming. I want to do all these things. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I had to change my mindset, because you change your mindset, you change your life. I don't know if I can express that enough. You really do. And I'm not talking about pretend. I'm not talking about pretending to change your mind. I'm talking about an actual mindset change and a shift so that you can change your life. And once you change your mind and your life start to change, then therefore it will be okay. It will be okay. And then when people tell you that, you believe it. So I don't tell people it'll be all right. Oh, it's going to be okay eventually. Because I don't know. I really don't know. And so, just like with grief is no more than a trauma that has occurred in your life. Grief is no more than PTSD. They just put another name on it. Somebody probably say, oh no, I don't want to be diagnosed with PTSD because I'm going through grief. And they was like, oh, okay, well, let's just slap a name on it and call it grief. But grief is no more than a traumatic event that happened to you. And any type of traumatic event, your brain, anything that ever happens to you in life, your brain takes account of it. And when it's in your brain, it never goes away. Your brain stores everything. That's why when you are whatever you learned in your childhood, you'll know when you're 50 years old. That's why people say, oh, it's just like riding a bike. Because if you rode a bike when you was 6 years old and didn't ride no more until you're 50, you might wobble a little bit, but your brain gonna click back and say, oh yeah, I remember you used to ride a bike, and it'll come. Just keep going. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, girl, I got this thing now. I remember I can ride the bike. I remember. Because your brain is keeping account of everything that's ever happened in your life. So if you think you can heal from trauma, that's how trauma laugh at us. Oh, they think they can heal from me. You're not going to heal. You're not going to heal. And I know people like, dang, oh, well, thank you. Joy, please. No, it's not that. It's the truth. You're not going to heal because trauma is not there. You learn how to cope with the trauma. And the more you learn and strengthen, the lighter it becomes. But your whole life changes after a traumatic event. And that's why when people pass away, your life change. Your life will change after any type of significant traumatic event. Your life changes. So grief is no more than a trauma, than a traumatic event that has happened to you. And now your life is going to change. And while you can't heal from trauma, you're not, the person passed away 5 days ago. You throwing up, sliding down the wall, trying to jump in the casket with her. Then a year go by. You might be sliding down the wall on the birthday, Then 5 years go by. You're not sliding down the wall, but you might shed a little tear. Then 15 years go by. You still remember that their birthday's still going to come. Holidays are still going to come. They're still no longer with us anymore. And now you look at a picture and you smile. You might cry a little bit, but you're not doing the same things that you're doing when they passed away 5 days that you're doing 20 years later. So your life is going to be altered, but it depends on you how you're going to deal with it. And it's not healing. It's just you learning how to cope differently based on the trauma that you've received. So grief is no more than a traumatic event that's happened to us. We cannot heal from trauma. And I'm sorry to tell people that. you know, but I rather people say, because people be like, oh, you on your healing journey. Oh yeah, because you know, you can get, because the people will, if you buy a book, a guru will try to sell it to you. A guru gonna try to sell it to you if you're gonna buy it. How to heal from trauma in 45 days. And you're gonna be like, oh, let me download this book and try to heal from trauma in 45 days. And you just gonna have been done gave them your money. So I'm just trying to be honest with y'all as a therapist who has a certification in trauma informed and trauma focused therapy. And so yeah, grief is tricky. My grandmother passed away in January, and to me it do not feel like she passed away yesterday. But grief is definitely tricky like that. It can be tricky, just like any other traumatic event. But I know as a therapist that I have to continually work to get that trauma, to have that trauma at a place where I'm not triggered by every little thing, or otherwise, to me, it would still feel like my grandmother passed away yesterday. You know, it's a you know, it's a song, or you know, a reminder through my son, who talks about my grandmother constantly, where, you know, something happened to you 15 years ago. Your house burned down. Just say your house burned down 15 years ago. And 15 years later, you know, the first year you could, if you heard a fire truck, you was just out of your mind. You know, it just triggered something in you. You couldn't, you know, if you seen somebody lighting something, a candle, you probably went bananas, you know, like, oh, hell no, you ain't light no candle over here. And then 15 years go by, and you know, you can hear a fire truck. Oh, you even burning candles in your house now, you know, 15 years later. But then all of a sudden you smell smoke. Then suddenly something happened and you smell smoke, you know, and then it's like you getting ready to throw up, like, and it's 15 years later. You know, and then you think you done, just because you done lit a candle and you can see people, you know, you can see a fire truck and all that. And then all of a sudden your brain say, oh, today I'm going to really remind her of her trauma. And then boom, it's just something simple as smelling that smoke that took you back to that house fire where you lost everything 15 years prior. It's just like that, you know. Grief is tricky. Grief is just a traumatic event that happened to us. So things can trigger us. A scent, you know, a picture, or somebody that looked like them, or a mannerism of somebody else. And so, you know, I definitely do encourage people to really be intentional about their traumas, and really, you know, try to put in the work to assist with the triggers that's going to come. The triggers are going to come, because the longer we live life, the more things we're going to be, you know, seeing and hearing and doing, you know. Yes, yeah, Angie, you know, things take time. Things take time. Yes, it does take time, you know. But you have to be proactive. You do have to be proactive. You have to be proactive with your mental health. I'm just, you know. So please, please, please. You just have to be proactive with your mental health. It's World Mental Health Day. As a therapist, I just felt like I needed to come on and just say a few words, let you know that I'm praying for you guys. Please continue to pray for me. I'm getting ready to go over here and see what my son got going on. It's done got a little dark, so I know y'all ain't gonna be able to see me in a minute. But just definitely, you know, keep other people in prayer too. You know, just pray for people. You know, I pray for people all the time. People that, you know, I just pray for people on your job. Pray for, even if you don't like the job, pray for the people on your job. Then you might start seeing some change. You know, prayer changes things, child. But be proactive with your mental health. Even if you're not going to therapy, join a group, or, pick up some type of positive hobby, and try to do something, or whatever the case may be, to kind of keep yourself in check. But yes, I love y'all. I'm gonna continue to pray for y'all, and y'all do the same for me. And and once you don't do too much pouring from your cup if you ain't got but a little bit. We have to stop. We have to remember that you have to love yourself first. You have to take care of yourself first before you try to offer assistance to anybody else. If you're not whole, and then somebody getting half of your half, then you at a fourth or a third. Like, you can't keep pouring. You have to be able to replenish yourself. It's okay for you to put yourself first. It's okay. It's not selfish. It's you having self-care. It's taking care of yourself. So don't keep trying to give and give and give and give, and then you just burning yourself out. You burning yourself out. You constantly burning yourself out. And people that are going through trauma, they do that because they feel like, well, if I can do things for other people, and then if I'm just on the move, if I'm constantly on the move, I ain't gonna think about it. I ain't gonna think about it. If I'm doing stuff, then I ain't gonna think about it. I ain't gonna think about it. Or people that's neurodivergent, they're constantly doing things. And if you feel like, when you feel like you're in that situation, then you need to just take a step back. Like, as soon as you feel that constant motion, it's like, oh no, let me pull it in. Let me take a seat right here, and let me see what I need for myself. And let me tell y'all something. Let me get closer so y'all can hear me real good. Even if you got children, even if you have, especially if you still have little children at home, baby, you got go to your room. This is what I used to do. This is what I used to do. And it might work for y'all, because it worked for me when I was doing it. I set my children down, and I got a yellow piece of paper, a red piece of paper, construction paper, and a green piece of construction paper. And I told them, I said, y'all know the red light, the signal light? And they were like, yes. I said, what is red? They said, stop. I said, what is green? Go. What is yellow? Slow. Okay, so then they understood. I said, so now mommy's going to put this on her door. If you see a green card on the door, that means you freely come and talk to mommy. You freely come in and out as much as you need to. The door is open unto you for you to talk to me, saying, come in, do what you need to do. I said, if you see a the red sign on mommy's door, that means stop. Do not enter. Mommy need a couple minutes. I'll take the sign off eventually, but y'all, you gonna have to go figure it out somewhere. Go figure it out. Y'all can figure it out. It's okay to allow your children to figure out things on their own.